It's what I'm doing, decide what to do, and then act. All I've got to do is act. I'm 4 steps faster than he is, right? And we said that reactionary gap is about 6 feet, right? So take them out. As big as these are, they're kind of short arms. But imagine if you have 2 arms apart, that's usually about 6 feet, right? And a lot of sparring happens here, right? So you haven't done any more sparring, right? So you can throw whatever attack you want to throw, right? I can probably block something like that because I'm outside that reactionary gap. I can see an attack's coming. I can go through all the blocks that I've been trained in, and then I can do a block. That's where sport martial art happens. Violence outside of sport happens much closer and much faster than that, right? So you can do that same attack, and I'm here, I'm eating that attack before I even realized that an attack was launched. So sometimes Aikido gets really flowery, but the bones of Aikido and why Aikido works, Aikido is Jiu-Jitsu. Jiu-Jitsu was put on the planet by samurai to hurt people. No matter how much philosophy you want to put on top of it, that's the bones. You can't play with the philosophy until you are capable of hurting someone and not being hurt by someone. Fair enough? So, a flowery principle, sen no sen, or attack the attack. And that sometimes that gets translated as, I can read his intention, and I can, you know, right? Not so much, right? So, you're going to punch my hand for me. And the attack didn't happen here, right? The attack started here, his shoulder bunched, the arm through, and then this happened. Inside that reactionary gap, I can't block this. And I'm not going to understand what attack he's throwing until after he's thrown it, right? But I can attack the attack, right? So the second he punches his shoulder, I can be here. Right? No matter how bad Mamma Jamma he is, again, look at the size of these guns. I've never lost a fight that I got to start by surprise from behind. Against women smaller than me, against small children, I am undefeated in fights that I started by surprise from behind. All right. So we got any Aikidoka here? Any guys who practice Aikido on a regular basis? Right. So lots and lots of reps. How many times have you practiced just going into Kamae? Right. And it says, oh, your Kamae's wrong. Just going into Kamae. Right. So again, it gets kind of flowery. The combat is taken out of that. But whatever attack he does, I'm just going into Kamae. Right? He's a big, strong guy. I want you to try and get like a Greco grip on my hips. Just the structure of my arm is going to keep him off me. The harder that he tries to fight, the easier it is to put him on the ground. And because we're a Taekwondo school, we always pin the head. Look at the smile. Look at your hand. All right. So before we get, Aikido is most well known for its joint locks. But the Aikido we're going to work on, if you looked at a Venn diagram, is just kind of a portion of the Tai-Ho that we're doing all week here. So this first we're going to work some joint locks, we're going to Kensetsu Waza, but before we can do any of that, we have to not get killed, right? Because you think about it, and again, before it gets flowery, Aikido Jiu-Jitsu, where it's from, was always lightly armed and lightly armored, right? So it makes sense for you to grab my hand, right? Because if I get my knife, I'm going to stab it, right? So from that pretense, it makes sense for you to hold my arm. Then all these beautiful Aikido techniques that you see flow from that. 21st century America, well, I wear armor, but not many other people wear armor and knives on them. So that start for joint locks doesn't make nearly as much sense as protecting yourself. So let's go ahead and stand up.